It's me, Renee. I'm back, and I'm here with another romance book tag. This is the getting to know you romance, getting to know the romance reader tag, and it was created as a blog post. Uh, so I'm going to be linking the blog post. Well, it looks to be kind of an old tag. Hopefully, it's still there, but yeah. And it looks quite to be a quite fun tag, really. First question: what is your romance origin story? How did you come to read your first romance book? Now, this depends on how you're going to define it. Like, I've read romance before, but I would say, like, the book that I kind of feel like I read because it's a romance, not because some books are romance and mystery, romance and fantasy, romance and other stuff. But, like, the book I read, like, solely because of the romance aspect of it was 5 years ago. This book was everywhere. What book was it? Red, white, and royal blue. Yes. So I heard about this book, and I just love the concept of it, like the English prince and the American politician falling in love, the impossible love story, but yet, I mean, yeah, I just everything about this just appealed to me, and I read it like a few months, I believe, after it came out, probably, and I just love it so much. Like now, I reread it every year, more or less, and yeah, I love this book. It's just such an amazing read, such a great love story. If you were a heroine of a romance novel, who would be the author, and what trope you would insist be in the story? Well, first I was like, who would be the author? And how would I decide? Like, because there's so many good authors, so this is a bit difficult. I ended up going with, you know it, Kirsty Boyce, because she has written two nerd books, but she also has two books that's set in different countries. So I feel like, yeah. As to which trope, there's so many cool tropes that I can't really choose trope. But I would say maybe like, yeah, trope. Is it trope? Yeah, friends to lovers. I would say would have to be in it because that's kind of my ideal, really. So yeah, and also having it being in a nerd society, like having it be in a bookstore romance. That would also be cool. That would be so nice. So yeah, and that's my answer for that question. And then we have, what's a romance book you read this year that you want more people to read? Now, maybe I should just move stuff. I just finished The Duke Gets Desperate by Diana Quincy. And honestly, everyone should read this. This is just amazing. Solely for for the reason that it's amazing, but also because the heroine is Palestinian American. So Palestine books, yes, here for that. And also Palestine is not a new thing. It's been there for a long time, a long time. Yep. But yeah, this book, it's it's enemies to lovers, which I don't usually vibe with, but with here it really worked for me, and I love both characters in their own way, and I love the book, and yeah, this book is just amazing. People need to read it. Also, the second book is coming out in September, so good time to check out this book. Also, again, hitting myself, which I seem to do sometime. Yes. Then we have next question. What is your favorite romance subgenre? Which I'm not supposed you don't really know so far. Yeah, you might have guessed if you've seen other videos by me. Maybe it's your first video with me. Hi. My favorite subgenre right now is historical romance. I'm so into that. I would say like before I've read like mostly contemporary, but now like historical. I'm like yes, to me. I love all the historicals. I will still read contemporary, but I'm a sucker for historical books. Sucker. I'm very much here for it. I just love it. I love books that are set in castles, books that are set in. Well, yeah, honestly, a lot of castles books are very cool. Or like estates and, yeah, all the dresses and ballrooms and balls and, yeah, I love it so much. Yeah, no, oh, I didn't see that one yet. What's a subgenre you have not read from? I have not really read that much dark romance, and I don't really believe I will. Reading about mobs, mafias, I don't really believe that's my kind of dealio. And yes, I do know that reading outside of your comfort zone is good, but I also feel like thinking like, should you read everything? Like everything? I mean, I feel like you are allowed to have something you don't like as well. So yeah, mafia romance. I don't really believe that's kind of my vibe, my style really. I mean, never say never, but right now that's not my dealio. Then we have it's one of your here's one of your auto buy romance offers. So here I'm gonna go with. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Didn't I? What happened here? I had planned this all in there. Yeah. So here I'm gonna go with Alexandria Belthor, represented by the Fiancé Farce. And so far she has five books out. I love all of them. This one is very good, but yeah, all of them are amazing. This year she's actually coming up with a romantic book, which yes, quite fun. But yeah, so far Alexandria Belthor, everything she writes turns to gold. She's Queen Midas, and yeah, I actually did an auto buy video a few years ago. Well, 1 year ago now, where I talked about like I don't really believe in that anymore because I have some favorite authors, but I feel like even favorite authors writes bad stuff now and then. And then Alexandria Belthor came into my life, and yeah, honestly, so far she's not written a awful word at all. All of her books are perfection. Hmm. Then we gonna go with the next prompt. How do you typically find romance recommendations? Like, do you go to Goodreads, Instagram, podcasts, whatnot? I follow some people on Instagram that do romance. Well, and other stuff, but yeah, also romance. So honestly, I would say like with me, romance, like finding romance books is kind of like me finding books in general. I always find books everywhere. Like for example, I'm one of those girlies that like if I see, for example, here you see the book, and then you see someone's written a blurb about it, thinking, oh, I haven't read that author. I'm gonna check out that author because I read this book and this book was amazing. So I find authors through blurbs. I find authors through sometimes at the back of books you have like if you like this author you will write like this other author. I find authors through sometimes authors interview other authors. I find authors through or books through like this new exciting book is coming out lists. I find authors through Instagram. Through I don't really use Goodreads anymore, but I use Storygraph. Um, I find authors through so I would say Instagram, YouTube, like in general googling lists, but also Fated Mates is an amazing romance podcast. I listen to it all the time. It's amazing, and I get so much tips from there. So yeah, that one I highly recommend. I listen to some other books podcasts now and then, but that's one that I listen to all the time, which is yeah, perfection. Highly recommend that one. Then we have what's an upcoming release you're excited for? Now, first I was gonna mention the other books that I have mentioned in other videos, but I'm gonna start with a book that I have mentioned before today. But yeah, Alexandria Belthor is coming out with a sapphic retelling of Bedazzled. You know the Brendan Fraser movie from 90s. So Yeah, that sounds amazing. Here for it. Then Stephanie Burgess is also coming up with a new book in February, so soon, which is romantasy. It's a book where there's a queen and there's also a librarian, and they fell in love because reasons, and like, yeah, here for it. And then you also have the third book in the Las Leonas series, which is coming out also actually in February. A lot of books in February, really. Didn't really think about that, but yeah, it happens. And as I said, you're getting a new book in the Sirens of Silk. Sorry, Sirens in Silk series. That's coming out in September, but it's coming out this year, and so excited for that. So yeah, that's just kind of a few books I'm looking forward to. Of course, there's more, but that's a few of them. Mm, yeah. Mm, sorry. What is one misconception? What is one misconception about romance genre you want to kick in the butt and just throw away? Again, though, questions were like, "What is one?" I'm like, "One." I have several, but yeah, I'm gonna do all of them. Like, firstly, the romance is just like it's just fluffy. It's not important. It's not vital. It doesn't really matter. So I would say, I mean, also that's kind of something you could also honestly people sometimes also say about fantasy books and other genres, like genre books in general. And I would say to that, yeah, okay. So when you're being bullied, when you're in a bad place in your life, where do you go to? Do you go to uh, reading about battles in war? I suppose maybe you might, but like often, if you're very, very in a bad place in your life, you might need something easy, something easily read, something not too complicated. And then escaping into a place where things end happily, where people fall in love, where a person looks at the other person and thinks, oh, she's so beautiful. And another person looks back and looks, oh, he's so beautiful. And the mutual pining and the love and the I mean, reading about love kind of makes you believe in love, and love is a powerful, important thing in the world, really. It is. And yeah, I mean, why is that bad? But also, B, a romance doesn't really have to be like just to be fall in love. It could be a person it could be a sort of a second chance love. Like you can find love with someone again, even if it's been going through a hard time, like a marriage in trouble story. It could be about people finding back to each other after a long time, so it gives you hope reading it. It could be a story about one of them has had a bad time in the past, but then this person loves them so much and gives them hope that things can be better. Like, but with romance, but also in general, like gives them new hope in life. It could be a story about people who often are ignored in real life getting love stories. For example, disabled people or people from under from minorities who get love. Of course, yeah, a lot of people from those communities don't get love in real life as well. But like often, at least in movies and TV series, often those kinds of people are the side characters or they're the characters who get killed in the very first scene for plot points or like for the fridge dealio where like women often get fridged in action movies because the men should have something to pine over. And in romance books, that does not happen. We women get our time in the sun, and it's just amazing. And also, yeah, feminism, because it's a feminist filled genre, and yeah, there's so many reasons to love romance, and yeah, people stop being snobs about romance. It's a great genre. And also, like romance, like this is a romance book, but it's also a book about politics and change and making the world better. This is a romance book, but it's a book about being yourself. And also I would say like romance at its like at its core, it's often the story is often about people can love you for who you are, and sometimes that's kind of very important message to be reminded about, because sometimes you think like in this orange dude period of the world, you might think that I'm not important, I don't matter. But romance books tells you that you matter. Everyone matters. Well, of course, except Nazis and idiots like that. That goes without saying, really, kind of. Yeah. Then we go next next question. Hmm. Who's the most recent romance reading content creator you came across that you'd like to shout out? Haven't really come across anyone new. I feel like right now I'm following so many people, so like getting new people is kind of I suppose like I find new people through readathons and whatnot. But I don't really feel like I've gotten any new romance readers on my radar. Though I would say, is it cheating? I don't know. But I would say though, Leandra the TBR Zero, I kind of associate her with mysteries and thrillers, and also middle grade. But she just did say yesterday that she also likes romance and she kind of wants to read a romance book that I talked about. So I thought, oh, you read romance as well? Okay, I'm gonna shout out Leandra, the CB House Zero. And she also makes great content in general, so Leandra. And then we have the next questions. If someone never read romance before and asked you to recommend the first three romances that came to mind as a place to start, what would those be? So, like three romances. I would say first, I would say it's a good question because I feel like often you're like asked, "What's one book you recommend to people who haven't tried that genre?" I'm like, that depends on the person, really. It depends so much on the person. Uh, but I would say though, and again, you know what? I'll go with these. Am I gonna go? God, there's so many I could go. Okay, I'm gonna go with none of these. I mean, I could go with so many, but I'm gonna go with Invisibility by Andrea Kramer and David Leviathan. This is a romance story, but it's a story about so much stuff. It's a romance where they start as friends, they become a couple, they break up, they become a couple again. I mean, it tells so much in this tiny little book, but it's okay. Honestly, in my mind, this book is like 1,000 pages because so much happens in it. It's just impossible to think that it's still so tiny book. But yeah, this book highly recommend it. And then you have Role Playing by Kathy Yardley. This book is about people in their late 40s finding love. So people sometimes think like romance books, it's just a bunch of teens, just a bunch of people in 20s, 30s falling in love. You have stories of people older fall in love as well. People in all ages fall in love. And that should be reflected in the books. And here it does. And they're both nerds. So nerds is not just teens. You can be a nerd all your life. And there's also some sexuality, demisexuality waking here. So yeah, I mean, romance is also a good place like to show that people love each other in different ways and can love in different ways, love different people. Yeah, and yeah, I'm gonna go with a red, white, and royal blue because yeah, this is romance, but it's also it also show you that romance also could be about politics. It could be about it could have like interesting B and C plots. It could like there's so many levels to romance books, and this is one of those really books. I've heard some people say like they don't like this book because I feel like it's still too unrealistic to have a woman president in the United States. Maybe you could say, but like then again, I mean, you have romantic books, I suppose. Yeah, because in this book, the only thing that's different from the world that we live in is that Trump didn't happen, Obama happened. And I suppose in that way, yeah, eh, I mean, Trump came back. But I feel like it's good to daydream, and this is just a lovely daydreaming story. It's just such a lovely, hopeful, like, what if this happened story? And yeah, so that's the getting to know romance reader book tag. I am going to tag, as usual, Annalisa Eli. I'm gonna tag. I'm gonna tag Leandra. I don't really know how often she does tags, but I'm gonna tag you, and then you can just do it when you want, really. I'm gonna tag. I'm gonna tag. I'm gonna tag Angela from. Give me a little moment. From little moment from. No, that's not that. Fictional fangirl. I believe she reads some romance. She reads mostly fantasy, but I think she also reads some romance. So yeah, of course, if you don't read that much romance, feel free to not do this tag. And also, in general, as always, if you see this and you want to do it, tag you're it. Bye.